At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger. It's Friday. Who's ready for the weekend? Of course, many of you probably had maybe even the week off. I don't know, but I've had to work all week. It hasn't been too bad. I mean, obviously we've had a little bit of weather, and we got some weather coming up this weekend. I'm ready for the weekend, but even though Chase Wilson will be covering for me over the weekend, be doing the regular weather updates, I'll probably still be on top of things, especially if you do see the potential for flooding and mudslides, debris flows, and gusty wind. We'll see. I'll certainly keep an eye on it and keep you informed. That's what we do here at Weather NorCal. We keep you informed. We are and will be the best source of weather information for you during these storms in particular. All right, let us take a look at the radar. And yeah, not much going on, is there? Just like I was expecting yesterday, kind of that drizzly day for many of us. Did see a few light showers, and it looks like for now, we're really not very wet right now. Take a look at the 24 hours rainfall totals. Did see over an inch out of Chico, but 0.78 out in Redding and 0.67 in Crescent City, about a half an inch out in Redway. So yeah, it just depends on where you are, but not a ton of rain, but that was expected. By the way, I want to remind you that you can always track the latest with any storms heading our way, or just get the daily forecast from the free Weather NorCal app. A couple of things I just want to mention about the app. Number one, it's free. Number two, it's hyper local. It is a forecast that is generated by yours truly. I put together a forecast, and then it goes out to all the different platforms. The app, the website, the 24-hour streaming channel, the works. So check it out. If you don't like it, take it off your phone, but just try it out, okay? I'd like you to try it out. Just go to your app store, search for Weather Space NorCal, and download the app for free today. Hey, we got Kenny Elwood checking in this morning. How you doing, Kenny? He says, good morning, dry in Dry Creek. Yeah, probably, but that's going to be changing here. It's going to be pretty wet in Dry Creek as we go into tonight and tomorrow. Kenny, I'll be probably texting you either today or not this weekend, obviously, but maybe next week. I'd like to continue our conversation, but other than that, I hope you, Kenny, are having a great Friday. Hope everybody else is having a great Friday as well, because, yeah, we're going to be going into a wet weekend, and things are going to be kind of changing a bit for us. If you're heading out to work this morning, it may be a little wet in some spots here, but again, it's just kind of that drizzle. You might need those intermittent windshield wipers as you're heading off to work this morning. There's a look at Red Bluff on I-5. Can't see much there. Looks like the roads are a little wet out on Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive. So we'll get into all of that a little bit later. But let's take a look at our Krueger's Quickcast for your Friday, January 2nd. Well, it looks like we are seeing those temperatures in the low to mid 50s in the valley. We've got 30s and 40s for the higher elevations, mid to upper 50s for those of you along the coast. All right, so out the door this morning, let's call it drizzle. We'll call it cloudy. We'll call it drizzly. Now, places like Modoc County, Eastern Mountains, you actually may eventually see some clearing this morning and afternoon in particular. Now, the storm system is approaching. So don't let today or even most of the day fool you today, because we've got that storm approaching. And once that storm system comes in, we've got more storm systems that will be moving through this weekend and even into early next week. And this will be the first round of heavy rainfall and gusty winds that we've seen for a while. And that's coming in this evening and tonight. So we look at Futurecast here. If you have any outdoor plans today, yeah, maybe a light shower this morning. But you see what's going on here? It's what Futurecast looked like yesterday for the most part, right? You saw mostly cloudy skies. There'd be some drizzle, maybe a passing sprinkle. Now, the cold front by this late afternoon, evening is going to be just approaching the coast. Then by tonight, you can see we're looking at that rain. Now, even at 10 o'clock tonight, it's mainly west of the valley, at least the heaviest rainfall. And by the way, as this cold front passes through, a couple of other things. Not only the heavy rainfall, you may hear some rumbles of thunder. There may be some thunderstorms this evening and tonight. You'll also be looking at the potential for some flash flooding as this heavy downpours come in because the ground is saturated. In fact, in most cases, it's probably oversaturated at this point. And on top of that, gusty winds. But take note, when you look at the color table there, you're not seeing a lot of blue on the map, are you? That's because snow levels are still fairly high, mainly above 6,000 feet. Now, the winds are expected to pick up with that cold front as well, but not really until tonight. Yet, you'll notice them getting a little breezy here later this afternoon and evening, but that cold front, once it passes through tonight, we're talking 30, 40 miles per hour. By the way, the ski park is closed today because the lack of snow. And this is something I anticipated. You may recall when my son wanted to go on New Year's Day to go skiing at the ski park, I told him, nope, we got to go on Monday. That's when we can expect more. There's still to be snow up there. Then I was on a chairlift giving you the forecast saying it's going to rain. You're going to see lose snow, and it's not going to be a good place to be on the ski park by the time we get into New Year's Day and, of course, the day after. And here we are. It is closed, and we're only looking at 16 inches at the top of Douglas. But with the anticipated storms over the weekend, we're going to be looking at more snow up there, and hopefully by this weekend, they can reopen the ski park. And I would anticipate probably closer to Sunday or Monday, because that's when the snow levels may drop down low enough. And you can see right now, taking a look at our temperatures for today, mid 50s for the valley, 30s and 40s for the higher elevations, and low 60s today for the coast. For tonight, we're looking at low 50s in the valley, 30s and 40s for the higher elevations, and looks like along the coast, you're in the mid to upper 40s. All right, let's go and take a look at our 7-day forecast. It's wet, and it's going to be off and on rain all the way through the middle of next week. If we see a break at all, it might be Tuesday, but I've still got a chance for showers in there nonetheless. Now, look at the snow levels at the bottom of your screen there. 6,000 Saturday, 5,000 Sunday, 3,000 possibly by Monday, and kind of leveling out about 3,500 to 4,000 feet by Tuesday, Wednesday. So yeah, we've got lower snow levels, and that is going to impact your mountain travel most likely. I still expect that by especially Sunday, we will be looking at chain requirements mainly east of I-5 over the higher mountain passes. But then by Monday, look at the snow level for Mount Shasta in particular, 3,500 feet. Monday and Tuesday, maybe even locally lower. All right, so that could mean the potential, at least for some snow. But see, that's kind of the borderline. We'll see if it actually accumulates on I-5, but bottom line, you're going to want to keep a close eye on those road conditions, especially as we get to the second half of the weekend and early next week. Taking a look at Chico, Main Street, Chico on Highway 32. Yeah, it is wet on those roadways, so you still may want to give yourself a little bit of extra time on your morning commute as we look at Highway 99 at Neal Road. There you can see it looks like on Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44, that's the exit Sundial Bridge Drive. We do have the wet roads there as well. It's just been drizzly, right, and light showers. Looking at Sutter Buttes, it's been kind of socked in with some of that fog lately. That has since then cleared out. Probably some drizzle out in that region. That's kind of the south of Butte County here. There you can see Crescent City this morning. Looks like there has been some drizzle out there this morning. And we'll probably see that throughout the day today. Look at that beautiful shot looking down at Hoopa Valley. This is the Bald Hill West camera, and you can see the lights kind of shining, illuminating through those low clouds, and there's probably some mist and drizzle there as well. We take you out to Fort Jones. Look at that beautiful shot of the moon. Look how bright the moon is. It's illuminating the fog in Scott Valley there. from at the top there. Isn't that just gorgeous? What a beautiful shot. Those should probably clear out. Be looking at probably some mist and drizzle there as well this morning. There's a look at Laston Park, and man, that is snow up there. They've seen a lot of snow, and remember I was talking about it has mainly been above 7,000 feet or so, but you know, you've got 6,700 feet there. Certainly have seen a lot of snow, so interesting to see that as well. Today is Friday, and we've got our pet of the week. This week it is, oh, what was his name? I just updated it this morning. Graham, yeah. Graham, Pet of the Week, sponsored by Grange Co-op. Be sure to check out our Pet of the Week.
Hi, this is Maisie with Haven Humane Society in Anderson, and this is our pet of the week, Graham. Graham is a 1-year-old pit bull mix who, as you can see, is perfectly petite in size. He won't take up your whole couch, but you also won't squish him if you accidentally sit on him. He is incredibly cuddly and affectionate. I've known him for about 5 minutes, and he is my best friend. So if you're looking for a dog that doesn't know a stranger and just wants you to rub all over them, Graham is definitely on the short list. He's met another dog at Haven and did well with them. He also met our hospital cat, Julius, and he didn't mind him. He was just happy to be around all of the people. He walks pretty well on his leash. He's went to PetSmart recently and he did really well. He knows sit, and he is just incredibly friendly and a fun boy. So if you're looking to add a new family member for the new year, please come to Haven Humane and check out Graham, or give us a call at 530-241-1653. Thank you.
All right, once again, I want to thank Grange Co-op for sponsoring Pet of the Week, and of course the animal segment in general here. And yeah, if you're interested in Graham, Graham looks like quite the little cutie out there. A couple of you have also kind of checked in this morning. We have got Barry checking in and just saying good morning, and we have got Bill Carlton saying good morning and have a great day. I always love it when you all check in and see what's going on with all of you this morning. And of course, the first to chime in this morning was Kenny Elwood. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our other sponsor. It's sponsor of Coffee with Krueger, made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, so the rain continues off and on, going well into next week. It's going to be a wet weather pattern. And the first in a series of storms will be moving in this evening and tonight. Now, with this rain, we've got the potential, because there will be periods and pockets of heavy rainfall, without a doubt. Maybe some thunderstorms. This could bring us mudslides, debris flows, some flash flooding, especially a lot of the low-lying areas. Now, high snow levels to start. We've already been talking about that, but snow levels will be dropping over the weekend, and I think they'll be their lowest by Sunday night into Monday. And with the approaching storm system here coming in today, or this evening and tonight, gusty winds. I mean, you're talking 40 miles per hour, most likely in the valley. I'm seeing signs that, based on the latest model data, that the winds this time around may not be as strong as they were last week. Remember last week, I think Oroville saw a big gust of 78 miles per hour. I don't think we're going to be nearly that high, but I think the valley on average would be about 40, maybe 45, which, by the way, ground very soft, very saturated. That's enough to blow trees down, folks. So we still have that potential. But on the coast, some of the higher mountain ridge tops, 50, 60 miles per hour. And especially out in Del Norte County and some of the higher elevations. And some of those, canyons too. We see the winds kind of filter through there. They can be very gusty there as well. So still a lot to monitor here as we kind of take a look at our deeper dive forecast. And speaking of that, we're going to get right into that. But first, our sponsor of our deeper dive forecast, Shasta Hearing Aids.
Frank, come help with the dishes.
What?
The dishes!
I heard it the first time. I just got back from Shasta Hearing Aids, but she doesn't know it yet. What?
Forget it.
All right, so we take a look at our current conditions out there right now, at least the temperatures. You can see fairly mild for the valley. We're in the low to mid 50s right now, 56 degrees in Oroville, 44 in El Tourist, 55 degrees for Crescent City and Eureka right now, about 57. Pretty mild. I mean, it's not very cold out there. It's the overcast skies really preventing us from cooling off a whole lot. But taking a look at the radar, there's not much going on, is there? It's going to be drizzly, yeah, without a doubt. Radar doesn't typically pick up on drizzle. It's just too low. But what we're seeing here is this. Yeah, that's the next cold front. And that's what's going to be that first push of some heavy rainfall, possible thunderstorms, gusty winds, and lowering snow levels. Now, what you'll see here, a couple of things. Number one, the cold front's kind of getting closer to us. Colder air getting wrapped up within that flow. You see the speckled clouds, that's the colder air. And we've got another area of low pressure right there, kind of spinning right here, and one of the leading up to it. So what's going to happen is, as this cold front passes through, we'll then be in a colder and unstable atmosphere, and that's going to give us more scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the weekend. So we're talking about this parade of storms, right? So there it is coming through the weekend. We've got more coming in, just all these waves of energy pushing through, at least through Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And then high pressure looks to settle in, or at least for a short period of time, toward the end of next week. And that's when we can expect kind of that bigger break. We're going to see breaks in between all of these impulses coming through, but there will still be kind of each and every single day that rain kicking in. So through the day today, yeah, it's picking up on a little bit of sprinkle, light shower activity, but for the most part, overcast skies for the valley northward. And those overcast skies will lead to a passing sprinkle, a light shower from time to time, and of course drizzle. Now, off to the east here, I think we're going to be mainly dry, and there actually may be some clearing. Yeah, out towards Modoc County, Lassen, eastern Plumas County, you can see some clearing. And there may even be a little bit of clearing for places along the valley. But now you can see here, as we go into tonight, there's that next round of rain, the cold front. So a few things I want to point out. Number one, heavy rainfall. This is when we run into the potential for flash flooding, mudslides and debris flows. The darker blue indicating some heavy snow, but that's mainly above 6,000 feet. Along the coast, we're kind of on the back edge of that at this point. And then you can see as we go into 3 a.m. on Saturday, scattered showers, possible thunderstorms, heavy downpours associated with these as well. Snow still mainly above 6,000 feet. Then we go into Saturday around 6 a.m. Most of the activity is to the north and to the east. But now what we're going to be dealing with here is that cold and unsettled weather pattern. So look what happens. As we go through the day on Saturday, we've got the potential for scattered showers, a heavy rainfall at times, and maybe some thunderstorms in there. You may hear some rumbles of thunder. And what we're looking at here is some heavy rainfall along the coast. And by the way, some of these thunderstorms that do work their way into even the valley could reach a severe category, indicating and basically that we could be looking at heavy downpours at times, some hail, very strong winds, and lightning, right? So you can still see, even on Saturday, I'd say at this point, mainly above 5,000 feet, but you can still see some heavier rainfall. Now that next band of rainfall really pushes in Sunday morning. You can see a nice little line here. You can start to see the snow levels beginning to drop a little bit. I'd say around 5,000 feet, maybe locally lower. There's midday on Sunday, more rain, possible thunderstorms, by the way. And then look what happens. As we go into Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, maybe a little bit of a break. Still some snow off to the east, but maybe a bit of a break. But that's not going to last forever, because look what happens. Yeah, we got the next round coming in Monday morning. Now, this looks to be a colder storm system. You see how we're seeing a lot more blue on the map. So this is when I would anticipate that by Sunday night into Monday morning, we could drop those snow levels down to around Mount Shasta City. That's 3,500 feet. All right, and by the way, through the weekend, especially Sunday, Scott Mountain Pass, Highway 36 by Sunday night into Monday, could see some chain requirements there. Highway 299, I think, should be okay as far as snow is concerned. Borderline might be Buckhorn Summit. And as I mentioned, around I-5, Highway 89, out towards the ski park, definitely seeing snow there as well. And then, of course, the heavy rainfall. See that? Look at that heavy rain coming through as we go into Monday morning, midday as well. Now, that snow is still fairly low. See how it's still around the Mount Shasta City area, 3,500 feet. We might even see some minor accumulating snow in Mount Shasta. But there you can see the heavier snow, and especially east of I-5, there will most definitely be chain requirements Sunday night through the day on Monday as well. And you can see some of the heavier rainfall that's beginning to kind of push on through. this will start to break apart as we do go into Tuesday. Tuesday, there may be a little bit of a brief break, maybe a chance for a few stray showers, but there's the next system coming in possibly around Tuesday night into Wednesday of next week. So the National Weather Service has issued, and this is something I've been telling you about the last few days, same areas here for Humboldt, southern Trinity County until Sunday night, flood watch, flood watch here. Also towards Lassen, eastern Plumas County until Monday afternoon. Now you're probably thinking, well, what about all these areas here? Well, that doesn't mean you're free and clear of flooding, because we do have the potential for flash flood risk. Now what that means is the ground is really saturated right now. In most cases, it's oversaturated. That means the ground can't hold any more water. So when you get these periods of heavy rainfall and downpours, you start to see quick runoff from many areas. So a lot of the low-lying areas that typically see flooding during these types of events will most likely see flooding. So the typical low-lying streets, low-lying areas, creeks and streams are going to start to swell up, and in some cases even overflow. And how about the rivers, right? The rivers are probably going to start to see that as well. Tomorrow, we still have that potential, and especially out towards northeastern Butte County. And let's see here, I think there it is. That's for tomorrow, and into western Plumas County. So yeah, I mean, looking at some heavy rainfall there. And then on Sunday, we still have that potential for more flash flooding. And as long as we've got these chances and periods of heavy rainfall, the potential for flash flooding is going to be something we'll have to watch. Now, looking at the latest forecast model data, boy, I tell you what, there were numbers that were upwards of over 3 inches, 3.5 inches for Redding. Now the latest forecast models are really backing off on that. So I don't agree with this. I think we're going to see more than that in the valley. I would say, yeah, 3, 4 inches, maybe even close to 5 inches for some of us for the North Coast. Bullseye here, another bullseye here, another one just north of the valley, and the other bullseye is off to the east. What I mean by that is these are areas that, based on the terrain, many times can squeeze out more moisture than many other areas based on the actual flow that's coming in for these storms. So I want to show you another map here. And yeah, I would tend to agree with this more. At least 2 to 3 inches, maybe even close to 4 inches in some cases for parts of the valley. 3, 4, maybe 5 inches, say 3 to 5 inches for the coast. I think that that's a pretty good possibility. And by the way, that's for today through next Tuesday. So we're looking at a 5-day spread. So that helps at least in keeping the flooding from getting too major, right? And then of course to the north and east, you are looking at much less in the way of rainfall. So let's take a look at some of the rivers out there. This is Eel River at Fern Bridge. You can see the forecast, you see it's kind of working its way up as we go through the weekend. But at this point, it's not really showing it reaching the flood stage, but we are going to see this change throughout the day. And there's a very good chance it could very much reach that minor flood stage, as well as the Sacramento River at Tehama Bridge. It gets very close, especially by Sunday, Monday, and even into Tuesday. That looks like it drops a little bit by Tuesday because we're not expecting as much rainfall at that point. Susan River at Susanville, you can see it staying in the action stage, but on Sunday, it could quite possibly reach that minor flood stage. We'll see. It just depends on exactly what kind of rain that we do see, and that's the thing about forecasts, right? You're trying to predict the future, and if you end up seeing more rain than anticipated, then yeah, instead of the action stage, it goes into the minor flood stage. So just be aware of that. Keep a close eye on it. All right, we do have a winter storm warning for areas east of the valley in the mountains. That's about 6 to 12 inches possible above 5,000 feet. And look at that, 2 to 4 feet of snow above 6,000 feet. So yeah, Lassen Park, some of these areas are going to see some pretty significant snow. Now, we also have a winter storm watch for both of Siskiyou County and Northern Trinity County. Now, the reason Northern Trinity County has this watch is because it's mainly Scott Mountain Pass that will most likely see that snow, especially as we go into Saturday, Sunday, and even into Monday. Could see a foot of snow once all is said and done, not just at one particular time, but could see 6 to 12 inches of snow up there. Could be quite interesting. So if you do need to travel on Scott Mountain Pass, do note that there's a chance they may close it down. All right, take a look at the forecast snow totals, and just kind of gives you an idea what the snow levels are doing. Saturday, we're starting to see them pick up a little bit more. Sunday, more snow coming down, and that'll continue into Monday and early Tuesday. So what I've done, taking a look at all the forecast model data, these are some of my numbers, and I would say Chester, you could see 3 to 6 inches of snow, 1 to 2 possibly around Susanville, 2 to 4 in Portola, and less than an inch. Probably just trace amounts out towards El Turris. And if we can get that snow level low enough out in Mount Shasta City, you're talking about 1 to 2 inches. And by the way, I'm being very conservative with these numbers in Chester. It could get higher than that, maybe upwards of even a foot of snow, but I'll keep an eye on that and keep a close eye on things. Again, you have to go above, 5,000 feet for us to see that 6 to 12 inches of snow. And what's the elevation of Chester? Well, 4,500 feet. So you're very close to that. So it might even be closer to that, 6 inches of snow at the very least, maybe 6 to 8. Again, we'll have to keep watching it closely. But Weaverville, Hayfork, no, I don't think you're going to see any snow out of this. And the winds, yes, we got to talk about the winds. We got a high wind warning, a high wind watch, a wind advisory, basically for tonight through Sunday morning. Let's take a look at that here and the timing of these winds. So we go into midday today. They're starting to pick off to the west here. You'll notice that, but a little breezy later by midday for the valley. Taking about 6 p.m., they're really starting to ramp up here as that cold front approaches, and it's starting to ramp up a little bit here for the valley as well. Then we go into tonight. Now we're over 30 miles per hour for the valley. And look at that out towards central Siskiyou County, Shasta Valley, looking along I-5 there, could see some gusty winds. And then we go into midday Saturday, still gusty winds. Saturday afternoon, still gusty. Now Sunday, we're starting to see the wind side down, especially for the north coast. Still a little gusty Sunday morning for some of the higher elevations. But it's the valley that may in particular see a lot more winds as we go into Monday. There's Monday midday, and Shasta Valley still seeing some winds, and even off into some of the eastern mountains. The coast, not as bad. And then by Tuesday, the wind should die down entirely for most areas. This is looking at Friday night through Sunday morning and picking up on the highest gust that's expected during that time frame. So I would anticipate that we're going to be in that 40 plus mile an hour range for parts of the valley. So what you'll notice when we look at these numbers, they're not as high as they were last week. So based on the latest forecast model data, it doesn't look like the winds will be as strong, but when you're talking 40 to 50 miles per hour, that's right there on the fringe of when we see the potential for downed trees and power outages, so we can't rule that out. Lake levels are still looking very healthy out there. Elevation for Shasta Lake, Trinity, and Oroville, you can see all of those from the historical average are well over 100%. Wave heights, well, of course, there's no big surprises here. We're in the king tide, so they are expected to be dangerous. Now, there's a small craft advisory today for those along the coast here that will be upgraded to a gale warning later on. But there is a coastal flood warning until midday today. This has nothing to do with the rain. This has everything to do with the king tides that we are going to be experiencing, and that will continue through Sunday along the immediate coast. A lot of low-lying areas along the coast, a lot of typical streets that flood will be that saltwater inundation, not necessarily just from the rain. So there you can see these high tides. They're getting really high in that water level. Now, even though they are expected to drop on Monday, they're still fairly high at 8.04. And, kind of give you an idea on Crescent City, same story, right? Fairly high. And then we see that minor drop in those water levels by the time we get into Monday. All right, so your marine forecast for your Friday at least, southeast winds at 20 to 25 knots, waves from the south at 2 feet at 7 seconds, and from the northwest at 4 feet at about 12 seconds. As I mentioned, a small craft advisory through about midday afternoon today, and then later today that'll be upgraded to a gale warning. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 40s for Trinity County. Snow levels 6,000 feet Saturday, 5,000 feet Sunday, 3,000 feet by Monday. Yeah, we're seeing them drop. 61 degrees out towards Blue Lake, 58 degrees in Alder Point today, and 61 degrees in Ferndale. Off and on rain for everybody throughout the weekend into early next week. 58 degrees for Orleans, 57 out in Hoopa, and Willow Creek about 57 degrees. Out towards Siskiyou County. There you can see in Scott Valley, Fort Jones about 50, 49 degrees in Etna. Snow levels eventually down to about 3,500 feet by Sunday night into Monday. We could keep it that way on Tuesday, which, by the way, Tuesday, we just won't see much in the way of rain or snow for that matter. 49 degrees for Canby for your Friday, 48 degrees in Fort Bidwell. For the Eastern Mountains, we're looking at about 50 in Shingletown, 46 out in Chester, and there's Janesville at about 45 degrees. And for the valley to the south, temperatures mid to upper 50s for your highs. 53 degrees for Pasquinta, 56 out in Orland and Durham, about 57. There's your 7-day forecast for Chico. Temperatures upper 40s to low 50s for the next 7 days. If we see a break at all, at least for the next 5 days or so, or Yeah, 5 days. That would be Tuesday. But we're just not going to see much on Tuesday. But then maybe another shot on Wednesday, and then really the overall better chance for us to see that break will be Thursday of next week, and that'll probably extend on into Friday of next week as well. So it looks like we are going to see those temperatures in the low 50s, off and on rain. Rain will be heavy at times. Of course, we talked about all the potential for flooding, mudslides, debris flows, gusty winds leading to power outages, and snow levels eventually lowering to impact more mountain travel out there. So that is something that we need to do. So we got a couple more people checking in this morning. We have got Curtis Brown. Curtis, one of our regulars, checking in this morning, saying, good morning. I appreciate your detailed forecast for this upcoming event. You bet, Curtis. That's what I am here for, and I'm glad that always nice to see your smiley face every morning. There is a look at Susan saying, thanks, Mike. Always appreciate the outlook for our local areas as well as road conditions. Yes, roads. And people travel. A lot of people. And, you know, you got to get over some of those mountain passes. You're like, am I going to make it? I mean, that's always, I remember working back at the TV station days, always during these storms, people who worked at the TV station always came back to the office and said, will I be able to get to Eureka this weekend? You know, that was always, kind of having that inside source was always nice, as opposed to have that local meteorologist to kind of help get you through a storm system. But now that I'm on my own, I can be your own personal meteorologist. And that's the beauty of doing this live. We can do this live. You can ask questions. So if you're watching right now, I'll stick around for a little bit longer. If you have any questions about upcoming weather, let me know. If not, of course, you know where you can watch the information. If you're watching on Facebook, once I'm done here, it will be available through the day. You can also go to weathernorcal.com. In fact, let me take you over there right now. I'll show you how easy this is. We'll go to weathernorcal.com. There, by the way, when you go right to the home page, sometimes it takes a little bit while to load up, but there you can see the 24-hour streaming channel right there. Right to the right of that is the latest video forecast. So you click on that, you can watch the forecast that I recorded this morning. Then right here, it says Coffee with Krueger. Click on that. Look at that. You can take a look at the latest video forecast. That's from yesterday. And you can watch the Coffee with Krueger as I'm recording this right now. Also, road conditions. I want you to check this out. Go to weathernorcal.com. Here's the home page, and click on road conditions right there. Look at that. You have not only do you have a quick link to Quick Map for the latest chain requirements, but look at this. I've taken all of the more popular cameras, if they're not down, and you can see. You're looking at me, aren't you? Now you're okay. All right, let's take you back again. weathernorcal.com. There's the 24-hour channel. There is where you can get Coffee with Krueger, and then this is what I was talking about. You go to road conditions, and you can check the chain requirements. And on top of that, you see that? I've taken all the more popular cameras within easy vision and sight. You can see where it's snowing and where it's not snowing. So I just thought I would share that with you because I thought that was, I like that. I think it's really cool. I love it. Well, that's going to do it for us this morning, folks. Let's see if there's any other questions. Okay, so we got Jennifer saying, coming back from Reading, from LA, any concerns for travel? No, I would say, Jennifer, the only thing you're going to be dealing with here is wet weather, is rain. But you're not going to be dealing with any snow, obviously. So I think you'll be fine. So don't worry about snow. Just wet roads and just stupid drivers on wet roads. Be careful of that. That's all I would say. So drive safely, Jennifer. So glad you could join us this morning from LA. Hope you're having a good trip wherever in LA, and hope you're enjoying your time over there. And happy, safe travels on the way back here home to Northern California. I think what a lot of people love calling home. All right, so that's going to do it for us this morning. What do you say we check in with some of the cameras this morning? We can, if I can get it going. Let's see if I have it. Is it going to go? Is it going to go? Yay! It's going to go. All right, excellent. There it is. It's looking at Soda Ridge. There's nothing exciting there, but what's also, it's going to be gorgeous. Taking a look at Fort Jones this morning. There's that fog that you have in Scott Valley, looking out at Fort Jones. We'll take a look at some other cameras to kind of wrap up the show. Have a great Friday, everyone. I will be back, not Monday, but meteorologist Aurora Murray will be giving you the forecast on Monday. I will be back again on Tuesday for your latest forecast. Until then, have yourselves a great Friday, a great weekend. We'll see you next week.